Archbishop Matthew RAWCLIFFE. Please join me and some great guests as we take a journey where I will spread positive and enlightened messages to educate, heal, and help others as we chat about various subjects with the help of God. Tune in every second and fourth Thursdays at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on Paranormal King Radio Network.
Hey, this week, everybody, how you doing out there? And we're going to start our show off like we do every week with our St. Michael prayer. St. Michael, the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do you, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and the other evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. And we got a guest tonight. It's Timothy Earl. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you good. Got my co-host, Ron Stokes, as always.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's good to be able to have you on, man. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, Tim, why don't you give us a little background about yourself?
Well, I kind of got started. I've been doing this for a while. If you can't tell, I have a bit of gray on my beard and hair. Actually, started the interest back in the early 90s when I was looking for a cheap way to entertain foster children. But then, and I'm not certain, and we can have a whole segment on it, on this conversation alone, but I'm not certain if it was cause and effect, but we ended up having an oppression and demonic attacks with something that most people would call the Hat Man, although these are the definitions and go deeper later. But I started researching on that and learning how to protect my family and my wife by doing this situation because, growing up in conservative Bible Belt, all things demonic were not discussed. Ended up, unfortunately, it didn't end very well. I learned more as my career in the ministry moved on. However, being cradle Catholic and good Catholic, I was attending the St. Mary Parish, and one of my children let it slip out as I was doing this research, and I was taking on this task alone and at home, and instead of being excommunicated, which is what I expected, a priest, Father Bush, took me under his arm and said, "Hey, come with me. We've got a job for you." And so to speak, it's been just a personal and spiritual growth since then. I've been doing it since. Well, I've been helping others since about '97, and I've been in and out a couple of different orders. Reported to a few different bishops along the way, and now I'm with the Abbot International Order of Exorcists, according to His Grace Archbishop James Cloud, who is nothing but a big teddy bear until he puts on the satchel and goes to work, and then he's a warrior.
There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know. Have you actually ran into anything hard out there? I know you have. I know you ran into some pretty nasty things.
I have. Well, let me tell you about the one. In fact, let me expand about the first one. So there is a demon out there that presents itself as it looks like the Hat Man. A dark shadow figure. It has a kind of a cape with a high collar and a flat brim and the red eyes. Right. Very stereotypical. You hear of this entity multiple times. Some people try to say it's Zozo. Some people try to say, it's some other entity. But the one that I'm chasing, and I don't want to say chasing, I never say that. The one that I've been paying attention to that effective, I've come across multiple times here in the Midwest, and it seems to be attacking women who are pregnant. And all these women will end up experiencing miscarriage.
Wow.
And once the miscarriage takes place, the demon is gone.
Mm.
So let's fast forward to, I think it was 2015. I was dispatched to a little town outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. An Anglican bishop called and asked me for some help. Actually asked Archbishop Pyle for help. He said he needed help. And what I found was a woman who was suffering from multiple sclerosis. Now, she was receiving an alternative treatment that her body, the medications tricked her body into thinking she was pregnant, and that would actually combat the MS. I can't go deep into that. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
It's long if I can. But the entity that she was experiencing was the same entity that I had encountered in her personal life, as well as a couple of times prior. And since she never had a miscarriage, this demonic entity kept returning over and over and over.
Wow.
And what she described was, not only would she see what I described, the shadow person, a three-dimensional being, blacker than black, standing off. It's not a shadow against the wall. It's a person standing there that's made of blackness. The brim, the eyes, the cape. We have a picture of it. As it was walking out of the room, she was able to gather herself and snap a photo. I spent many weekends going down to, and I'm in Wichita, Kansas, so this is a solid 3-hour drive for me. But I spent many weekends going down, and it culminated into a weekend. So my job with the SOSM at the time that she was with, Ticket Order of St. Michael, reporting to Archbishop Ron File out in California. My job at that time was to gather the evidence to prove a case, to have an exorcist, bishop, or priest dispatched to go perform the rite. So and one of the things I really want the listeners to understand is this is not ghost hunting. We're not going ghost hunting. We're going to discern a spirit. And this is what Christ tells us to do in the Bible. We're to challenge angels. We're to challenge demons. We're to challenge them as to who they are. So my job is to go and discern what the spirit is and catch evidence of its existence.
And that's the difference there between a demonologist, you're a demonologist, right?
I have the title.
Yeah, and that would be the difference between the demonologist and the exorcist. A demonologist, like what Tim does, would go in first and discern what was really going on, and then, like my job as an exorcist, we would go in after the fact and deal with said entity.
Set them up, you knock them down.
Yes, sir.
So every time I went to this house, every weekend, every time I walked into this home, the clock would stop. No matter what. It was digital clock, analog clock with the hands, but it was battery operated. It had a brand new battery in it and stop. I'd leave, but it would start again. Now, I was actually looking prior to the call. I have my evidence log over this. When you do an evidence log, you'll have 3-4 things that you'll say it's could be paranormal related, maybe yes, an absolute yes. I have right now 114 items that I have cataloged. Absolutely
awesome,
supernatural. Everything. Yep, everything. Disembodied voices. I was actually sleeping in a home next to it. They owned a home across the street. My sister did. So I was staying the night across the street, and something kept tapping me on the forehead as I was laying there sleeping. And I got this on video, and you can see the indent going into my forehead as something's tapping me. So a very, very active paranormal. But the thing that really got me was a recording that we had. I don't know if I played it, if you would hear it, but I do have it up, and I'd be happy to try and play it.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I did man's work, so I did. Yeah. Out here. I mean, that's what I was doing. Yes, that's why we have surgery.
Now, could you hear that at all?
It's kind of hard to hear it. A
Okay,
little bit.
well,
Very faint.
I'll forego
It's
it.
real faint.
You're good though. You did drop it in.
Yeah.
Well, what we have here is two women speaking, and the one's an investigator that was working with me, and the other is the client, and they're both in the mid-60s, you know, and I don't need to be that guy, but I'm just going to say that this Kentucky, you know, how older women can kind of get going. They're talking about having surgery to better their lives. While their third woman comes in and speaks, and this third woman is a young woman, she's not in the room, and she says, Eritus Denominus. And what she's saying is, bear demon. And then there's that low, rumbling, guttural sound. So, I've never heard a demon introduce itself before as a low, rumbling sound. Here, I'm going to try it again.
I did man's work, so I did. Yeah. Out here. I mean, that's what I was doing. Yes, that's why we have surgery.
Yep, right at the end.
So this thing's introducing itself as a vibration, as a sound, you know, as a sound. So is that Enochian that we're listening to? Is that their speech? Or is that their name? Is that their existence? What is that?
They don't like to let you know their name. It takes a little while to put them through some torture before they really give it to you.
Sure.
And a lot of times they'll give us a lot of fake names too. I've had them where I've demanded names many times and I've had them tell me they were Jesus, and then laugh at me.
I've had them correct my Latin.
Mostly in Latin, usually in Latin, a couple times in Aramaic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, mostly Latin though.
Yeah, we've had them try to throw us off and letting us know that there's some kind of an angel that's just there, you know, trying to look over somebody and watching after them, and you know, they'll try to fake you out every now and then. They'll give you the fake names. They'll let you know that they're there just for good. But, you know,
Ron's like you are. He's been doing it about what, 20 years, Ron? You've been doing this?
Yes. I have. I've been there and done that in 2002. It's really getting heavy into it. But I mean, I was born and bred in fire, man. I was brought into this experience. My grandpa raised me up. He was talking to spirit for a very long time, and there was good and bad ones. And even one time, she had one bad one that tried to get her in the middle of the night. She was swinging a baseball bat at her crawl door. Very early in the morning, neighbors calling me up, going, "Please help! Please get on this fix, please. I don't know what's going on." You know. And then I'd go into the crawl space where she's throwing a baseball bat at, and all of a sudden, I heard my very first Class A EVP of "Get Out." And then I walked back out trying to act like I didn't hear nothing. "No, Grandma, you good. Please go inside." And whenever we get inside, the radios turn on, and I just throw my hands up like, well, I did what I could. I did what I could. But they wanted their self to be known a lot. And I couldn't go across her house. She would be sitting in a back den, and I would go all the way to the front of the house, to the front left, where she's at back right. I'd be going front left, all the way to the end of this house, to the other side, doing something. And her just hanging back there, and it would tell her exactly what I was doing. I'd be coming back, she'd be like, "Was you meddling?" I was like, "No, ma'am." No, she was like, "You was meddling. They told me you was." Oh, no.
Hey, here we go. We got a good question on there, Ron. They want to know, is anyone who studies demons considered a demonologist?
No, you actually...
No, that's a lot of people. I mean, Tim, how do you feel about that? Anybody who studied demons is a demonologist? I'd say no.
I actually hate the name. I don't like the name demonologist. That's kind of why I stuttered at the beginning, but because
Very bleak
the connotation has really taken on a different meaning. You know, I saw a meme of Batman slapping Robin, where Robin was saying, "I'm a demonologist." Batman slapped him, saying, "You've been on one of those times." There's an actual, and that's one of the things I really try to tell everybody who really wants to get involved. There's an actual very different approach to ministering those afflicted by the demonic than there is ghost hunting. Ghost hunting, you're going out, you're having fun, you're getting scared, you have some reactions, possibly from human spirits, possibly from non-human spirits. But if you don't have the fortitude, if you don't have a relationship with Christ, if you don't have authority of Christ, then you should not be getting involved in this ministry.
Yep, I agree 100%. Without, and honestly, if you don't have, and that's where it comes into being clergy, that you have to be a clergy to be an exorcist. And that's for, and let Tim will tell you the same thing, because without being clergy, you don't have the power of Christ, truly. And if you don't have Christ with you, they'll laugh at you, and you can actually either hurt yourself or hurt somebody else.
Well, you know, and one of the things that I see a lot happening is a lot of people casting demons. And there have been a lot of people that have found rest and solitude with these who are casting demons. You know, they're no longer tortured. They're no longer oppressed. One of the things that people have to understand is what the function of a demon is. A function of a demon is one thing, and that's your destruction. That is tearing you away from your salvation. End of story. It's not to be friends. Nope. It'll have fun doing it. It'll laugh, but it is not going to step away from that role and responsibility. And it will do. You're talking about ancient demons here, right? I mean, how long have we been on this planet gaining the knowledge compared to a fallen angel
who has never been a human?
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going to be smarter than a demon. I mean, we're just not. And for somebody to come up with untested, untrued, and let's just face it, just internet knowledge base, and then start trying to apply themselves to helping others. If somebody actually starts experiencing a better life because of what they're doing, the whole purpose is because that demon has now moved you away from your salvation. It won. It did what it was trying to do. It doesn't have to torture you anymore. You've already fallen for the ruse that there's no Christ, that there's no devil, that there's no salvation. You've fallen for it. You're gone. It doesn't have to keep torturing you anymore. That's the whole reason people find salvation in these alternative methods of exorcism. So when somebody says that they want to be a demonologist, the first thing you have to ask them, okay, what's your relationship with Christ? And if they say, well, I respect other religions. I respect that they're probably, Christ. I don't know who's going to hell. I don't know who's going to heaven. That's Christ's decision. That's not mine. I'm just going by what the Word says. The Word says to expel demons in His name.
Yep.
Right? There's no other way to do this.
You're 100% right. There is no other way. I as an exorcist and as a clergy, I have no authority. It's by the authority of Christ working through me that I have to expel them.
There you go. Yeah, I was born and raised Episcopalian in Columbia, South Carolina here. And I was an acolyte carrying the cross and serving communion. My father was reading sermons. And we just was born and bred into church, making sure that we was doing what we needed to for him. And that's how my grandma raised me, man. Just making sure to be strict on being a Christian and looking towards making sure that, we involve him every day. And that was the problem with all of this jumping into this force for me was that I was just kind of put there. I didn't really ask, and I figured that's where he put me.
And let's be honest here. I mean, let's be just open and transparent about this lifestyle. I mean,
It's not easy.
You're broke. Your health is always in shambles. You know,
Yeah.
Your loved ones are attacked.
It's not easy.
Yeah,
No,
you always
it's not.
protect yourself. Always looking for making sure that everybody's protected around, keeping all the negative energy far away from you. It's a trick.
I've had to cut off so many relationships. You know,
Yep.
I've lost relationships that I wanted. I haven't been. You're constantly attacked, and these attacks. Everybody wants to, you know, go to the physical attacks. You know, you see somebody levitating up the bed.
The extreme stuff.
Episodes on that for them.
But that's not what the majority of attacks are. They're your boss doesn't give you that raise. Your boss doesn't give you that promotion because your boss is giving some idiot over here a promotion. Well, that could be a demonic attack. You know, your spouse is, you know, just not wanting to be around you, be with you, and you can't figure out why. That could be a demonic attack. Your daughter has a seizure. That could be a demonic attack. I mean, well, you know, when I say could, there's real life incidents, but when it's on a constant basis, that's what the life of somebody in the ministry is. Constant basis. Archbishop Cloud, he's just getting over a major health issue.
Oh yeah, he was really sick.
Joe Thompson, and he's a member in our order. He had a heart transplant. You know, Stephen, he's been sick constantly. His back's gone out. It's just everybody who's active in the ministry in the name of Christ and in delivering people from the demonic influence that we're always under. We don't have fancy lifestyles.
No.
You know,
that's it. I don't get paid for what I do.
No.
And I don't know anybody that truly does it. I know none of us get paid. Because when you're doing, especially when you work in the name of the Lord like that, you're not supposed to get paid. It's actually sacrilegious to take money.
This is educational benefit. That's why this is supposed to be here. Educational benefit. I don't want to get paid for this. I've got music to play, you know, at some place somewhere, and I think it's 5 o'clock somewhere. When I'm going to jam, and that's how I want to get paid, or I want to write a book or something like that. I'm not wanting to deal with this too much. I'm not wanting to keep it as just a life and having to talk about it every day, every night. That's just wrong. You got to live life sometimes. You got to step away from it just to make sure that you're catching up on the rest of your life.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if you don't take a break every now and again, it will. I've seen clergy get pushed over the edge.
It'll take you over, man. You let it. Take your whole life.
And on the other hand of that, I mean, it's kind of a calling too. So a lot of us don't step away when we should, and end up getting sick.
Always brought back in, and then you know it just pushes. And then you do it for 60, 70, 80 years until you just that broke down. And you push as far as you can, and then you know that's that Obi-Wan style right there.
Yeah.
That's that
Obi-Wan style. I've had to step away. I've stepped away for as much as a year and a half, and then came back. You know, I've stepped away saying I'm done. I'm not going to need to do this anymore. You know, thank you, Lord. I'm sorry. I have to concentrate on my family. I have to, you know, we have to heal. You know, and then, you know, 6 months, 8 months later, and I've done this 4 or 5 times over. I've been doing this for 20 years as well. So I've done this 4 or 5 times, and then I'll get you know, it's time. It's time to go to work, and you're back to work. So one of the things that I have done, and it's helped, is I removed my website. I don't have a website anymore. I used to have a group, but you know, it's hard to. When everybody thinks, again, it's all thrills and games, but they don't realize that there's a lot of counseling involved, right? There's a lot of actual counseling 101 taking place because people actually experience PTSD through this.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of traumatic that goes into life after this, you know, and kind of talk to you and joke with you right after a traumatic experience like this, and you can't even hardly joke around. You just try to shrug it, but you can't.
Right.
You want to have time, and then all of a sudden you're stuck in your head with it, mentally just there.
So I won't take cases anymore unless it's somebody only by referral. Clergy, you know, request the clergy, and then there are some groups out there that I absolutely love and trust. If they said they have a problem and they think that I need to be involved, I'll get involved. So that's that, and I don't mean to be, you know.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
But yeah, it's tiresome.
International, man. You know, that takes a finance. If you're wanting to go international and going to the top shelf to make sure that you're pushing yourself to the max out there, it takes finance. You know, nobody's plane tickets.
Oh, I know one supposed bishop that got financing, was flying around the country doing it all the time, and I think that you guys.
They always got a case for you. They got a case for you. They can't pay for your plane ticket. Or your hotel.
No.
You gotta eat, but not in those 3 days' time. Right?
If somebody wants to cook a meal, you know, celebratory meal or something like that, hey, I'm down. Yeah. You know, first some chicken on the grill.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, but, no, I budget. I used to budget $100 a month for gas. Now it's $200. You know, just inflation. But yeah, there's so, you know, and especially when it was with SOSM, there's a lot of traffic with Sacred Order of St. Michael. For the listeners who don't know, there's another order out there, Sacred Order of St. Michael. It was a great community of professionals there for many years. But long story short, it is not affiliated with anybody on this call tonight. But they were I was really busy with them. So I would actually start driving Saturday morning and stay the night at a motel somewhere and catch mass somewhere on Sunday, some, you know, remote prairie church. And it's really interesting to catch, you know, and I try to make sure it's Catholic, but, you know, there's
especially when you catch mass and it's not in your own church, it's a little different, isn't it?
It is, especially when you get out to the old German settlement towns. It's very traditional.
Oh yeah, a lot of them do only Latin mass. Yeah. They don't speak any English.
V2 is dead. The V2 was never born.
He speaks really fast. When he's doing his Latin, he just spits it off like, no, taking off a mile a minute, man. That guy spits when he's doing some Latin. Oh boy. It's like listening to a rapper like Eminem. He goes,
my Latin has a southern drawl.
Yeah, I bet mine too. I will too. I'm stuck with my southern accent, but I'm not ashamed of it. I love being southern.
I was at a investigation, and it was helping somebody else, and I felt the oppression coming over me, so I started to say the St. Benedict prayer, and by the way, our order is the second order of St. Benedict, second Benedict order. So it's not so strict, so I can. But I actually got an EVP, like I said earlier, correcting my Latin, because I say that prayer in Latin, you know. Cru Sacrosit, and I was corrected, so I've kind of pulled back.
I get it. To keep, you know, I was wondering if they do that on one of those teachers programs that you can get, speaking different languages, man. I wonder if ancients
there's different types of Latin though, because there's regular Latin, then there's what they call ecclesiastical Latin, and that's what you speak as clergy is ecclesiastical Latin. And usually you're not going to see that in many teaching courses unless it's in a seminary, really.
But if you're listening to it, it's kind of like a Cajun man, the way it talks.
It's like different. It's a different type of Latin.
So
Yeah.
Rosetta Stone has a Latin, and I do have it. And Bishop, you just nailed it. It's not the same. And I had to be corrected by clergy saying, that's not Latin. That's not right Latin. So I was really upset.
That's why we get the missiles these days, and they got one side of the books has Latin, and the other side has English.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to look at another one of those like Saint Rosetta Stone or whatever, and you'll try to match it up, and the words aren't the same.
No.
The Rosetta Stone Latin will not match what's in the missal. I promise you that.
So
do all priests drink wine from a chalice during mass?
I know certain churches that don't even use wine anymore. They use grape juice.
And in that photo, what's in the background for Tim?
Oh, this? It's actually
Your background?
Backwards. It's actually backwards. So I was trying to find better. So I'm in a new office, and it has unpainted plaster all over the place. So I try to throw something up behind. This is actually a photo of a documentary called The Exorcism Prayer.
Yep.
Put on by Ryan Cavallini, was the producer, and it was done at the beginning of the COVID, where everything started kind of collapsing, and I was actually involved in it. And he just interviewed a lot of priests and bishops in the ministry and put it together. And I was the only demonologist, so I was the low one on the totem, so I didn't even get a picture in it. But I still have credit in it. It's actually pretty good if you like to hear their experiences, in a flamboyant way. It's something fun to watch. I don't think it did very well with the credit stuff, and I don't think it's on Amazon. But yeah, I've done a few shows actually, and that started. So back when I was with SOSM, I got a phone call from a producer of a show called a brand new show. It hadn't even started yet. It was called The Most Wanted List, and the star of the show is Christy Lee Cook. She I think is on season 6, finalist if not a winner of American Idol, and country singer. Great person, great Christian, very conservative too. And the premise of the movie is they wanted her and her 2 friends, of course they're beautiful young women, make you blush, but want to go out and do things that are related to hunting. Well, ghost hunting came up, and so Tyler Lindsay contacted me because he wanted somebody to take them ghost hunting that could take care of something in case something actually happened. And I wasn't going to do it. I said no. I actually turned it down. So he called. I don't know how it happened, actually, who contacted who. But Archbishop File called me, and have you ever had your ass chewed by a bishop? It goes on and on and on and on.
For days. For days. They'll be like, hold on a second. Go get some water, come back, and chew your ass some more.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So, I've had it happen a bunch. Trust me. I'm as a young especially being as young as I am as an archbishop. Trust me, I've gone through a few of them myself, and they go on for days. Days.
An hour and a half later, he's telling me, look, this is going to be good exposure, and here's why. One, you lead with Christ on your sleeve. All right, you're not going to go in there and embarrass me. I know you're not. You can do it. And that was code sign for don't effing embarrass me. So
you better not embarrass me.
Right. And he wanted to get the messages across that there is help out there. You got
that is a problem. A lot of people don't know where to get the help.
Exactly. And Hollywood's just not helping that.
And the horrible part about that is, on the other hand, is in the days of Facebook, you get a lot of people that can say they will help, but can't really help them.
Exactly. So
there's a lot of turning down going on out there.
So that show was a good time, and you know they ran a spot on the order, you know, to get a hold of so and so, you know, call go here, go there, you know. So that was really good. That was fun, and then it happened again. So I got contacted again by another company, and this one's out of Hollywood, and this one had a lot more funding behind it. It was actually for the History Channel, and it was going to be called the Unexplained. And
Yeah,
okay, but
I know those guys.
the name ended up being changed to Breaking Mysterious, and here's what happened. The show was they filmed 6 episodes, and there were 2 teams. One by Jael, who was part of, I think it's Destination Truth, Josh Gates, at one time.
Yep.
And then the other was Cromwell Brown, and Cromwell Brown was on MTV with a lot of game shows and things of that nature, and he's now on Career Eye for the Straight Guy. And I met Cromwell. It's kind of funny. He came walking in to dinner, sat down, and I turned and I didn't know. I said, okay, and who are you? Anyway, they came to town. They wanted to follow me because everybody knows about the bishops going, the exorcist bishops or priests who go in to save the day, you know. But what they don't know is how there's a team of people behind that setting it up. You know, you have your parishional duties. You know, a priest can't be out there all the time. But they went to every call.
I would never sit down and I would never sleep.
Right, and that's why people like myself.
And Ron, I kind of threw Ron under the bus. Ron was my lead. He's the lead. He's a lead. He does what you do for your order, but for my order, for the Solomonic order, St. Michael the Archangel.
I mean, so we give you your day back, right?
Yeah,
and,
partially. We still get those calls midnight, you know, because somebody wanted to put the bishop's phone number on the website. And I get those calls at 3 o'clock in the morning and somebody going, I'm possessed. Why do you think you're possessed? I don't know. I just feel like I'm possessed. You're not possessed. Go to sleep.
Yeah. I saw 9 fingers crawling on my arm, man. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Like the one girl we had, Ron, I know you're there. I think I'm possessed. Why do you think you're possessed? I don't know. I've been microdosing with mushrooms. Wait a minute. First off, how many mushrooms are you taking? She goes, I don't know, like 5? I said,
Doors.
well, you're not microdosing, and that's probably why you're seeing stuff.
Yeah.
But she swore up and down that she was possessed, and the mushrooms told her they were. I swear. I swear that happened.
Mr. Earl, can you please tell us, everybody has this moment in their career with doing this, where you know that you were happy you wore your brown pants. All right, so please tell me your biggest experience on you being happy that you wore your brown pants today.
So let me give this some context. Okay. So
Ready for that one.
I'm gonna get. So
Got to readjust for that one.
So I'm gonna give one that's I'm gonna go probably a little deeper than people want. So you open the door, then it's like this. So I get a call from I don't know what to describe him. I mean, so a young man, we'll just say, I get a call from a young man who ended up becoming a seminarian after this, but I don't know if he's finished. I assume he's finished. But his brothers, he has 3 brothers that were already had masters or doctorates in theology. One of them was a Catholic priest. One of them was a Methodist, and the other one was a banker. So. But they elected this one one who hadn't done anything like that yet to get a hold of me. What the deal was, there is a twin home in a small town here that their parents owned, and this home used to be in the country and it was moved into town, and was a residence for professors for the local Christian college, Christian women's college to be specific. I guess that doesn't matter. But then in the late 70s, it was sold off and sold to their parents, who used it as rental income. Okay, so over the decades, There have been multiple murders, multiple suicides. I don't know how many times. I think there's 9 abandonments where they just get up and leave and leave the clothes there. There's 3 reports with local police of doors, exterior doors and interior doors, but exterior doors swinging open on their own, and they'd be locked. On 2 of those cases, the police set up cameras, video cameras, and got them swinging open, but it was never explained. Wow. So this
it was explained, but they didn't want to explain it the way it was on the video because they didn't have anybody on the video opening the doors, so therefore it's unexplained to them.
Focus on a reality if possible. They can't just explain.
So some of, I mean, and the activities went on, and some of these things, were just extremely tragic. One of the murders was a toddler that was shot with a double-barrel shotgun.
Wow.
The other one was a young man shot and killed his father in a grocery store that he was living there. There's just a lot of tragedy. So I was set up. The father had passed already. Mom was about ready to go into hospice. They were going to have to sell the home, and they wanted to sell it to them. They didn't want to sell it off and have somebody else deal with it. It had been sitting empty for the past 5 years with no tenants because they just didn't want anybody hurt. And there's no electricity, no water. So I was prepped on this. So I was going there, and I was taking a young investigator with me, as well as a young woman who works with the local Roman Catholic diocese as a mystic. And for those who don't know, mystic, even in the Bible, we'll say psychics. There's different types of psychics.
What Talia does for us, Ron.
Right.
Yeah.
So this woman is very good, and I brought her along, and we're going to meet the old lady. It was just going to be her. And we pulled up into the parking lot, and we noticed there's 2 dormer windows, second-story windows, and one of them's dark and one of them's light. We were actually talking about that. The light one was because the shades mini blinds were closed, and they were on the side driveway where the little old lady was. And we pulled into the one where the blinds were open. No, so I go out, get out, and go greet the lady, and I'm talking to her. Well, the young man comes up and speaks to me, and he says, "Hey, I just saw somebody look out those blinds." And I looked up, and I saw 2 fingers that had opened up the slats of the blinds, and they went, and those fingers were black. Now I'm just thinking that it's a squatter, right? Somebody's in that house. So I said to the lady, "Hey, somebody's in there. Give me the keys. I'm going to go in and catch them. I'm going to go in and get them." So
See a back window open.
I opened up, right. So I opened up the front door, and the stairs are right there to the left, but I immediately make it out the back door, to the back door to catch anybody who's going to be running out. Nobody back there. There's no stairs. There's no basement. The door's locked. So I go upstairs, and as I go upstairs, the fog. You're stepping into the jello. So I start stepping into the jello. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, the air gets so thick, you almost can feel yourself moving in slow motion trying to
Yep.
Yeah, there's
So I'm walking up there. I start getting the fear so bad I can taste metal in my mouth. With that metallic taste you get that you're so scared. My heart's palpitating. I can feel it in my bones. I can just completely feel it.
You just know something's wrong.
Yeah.
So I start saying the rosary, and a desk goes flying across the room. I black out. I come to, and I go downstairs, and I think that only maybe 3 minutes have passed, but apparently 17 minutes have passed. That's not the scary part. Okay, that's not the scary part. Here comes the part that got me. That evening, I got a call from a psychic in the West Coast I've never met in my life. Her name is Enrique. She's pretty well known now that I looked her up, and then she's done a couple of shows and whatnot. She called me. She said, "You brought a young woman into me and Nephilim. Don't ever bring her back to meet that Nephilim again, because that Nephilim's going to kill her." That's when I had that brown pants moment. She's telling me I've met a true fallen, and I almost got somebody killed.
Yeah.
So the true fear that I felt in my body, you know, I can.
When you truly come up against one that's truly fallen, and it is what it is, you know it.
Yeah, that's
especially when you're called to this ministry, and you have that discernment of spirit. And there's no way to really explain it. There's just that feeling that overwhelms you, and that you came really close to something really bad happening to you or somebody else.
That demon's still there. It's still there.
Oh, I bet it hasn't gone nowhere.
Yeah. Nope, that was the one.
Look, once they take up residency somewhere, unless somebody forces them to go, they're not going anywhere.
No, it's been having too much good time. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I was just talking.
I mean, we've all had startling moments. We've all had terrifying moments. You know, that was.
If you haven't had a terrifying moment, you really haven't been in this ministry.
Right.
There you
go. There was another time I met a seminarian from the Oklahoma City diocese, and we went to a small town. A woman was complaining, and we interviewed the woman, was talking to her and asking a lot of questions, and this young man was trying to, play the part, and he was trying to be all,
official.
Yeah, thank you. And I was just letting him take lead because, the bishop down there doesn't know me for anything, so this young man was just sitting along there really kind of watching me. So we get up and go walk to the house. We open up the closet door, and there's a green face up there in the closet just staring at us, and it turned into a ball and punched and came straight down and just punched me right in the gut. I doubled over, started vomiting. He ran out the door, got in his car, and took off and quit the seminary.
Yes.
I've seen guys. I've had that. I had one. I wasn't even the exorcist in charge. I was assisting an exorcist, and all of a sudden, it felt like I got hit by a baseball bat in my side.
Yeah.
And I doubled over, then to where two other priests had to pick me back up, and I had bruises all down my side for a month. And I'm talking like, I had two broken ribs, and it hurt to touch. I mean, you couldn't touch it, I'd scream.
Pick you up and chunk you like a golf ball, bro. If you really want.
So, yeah. I mean, we all go through it.
And, and priests, the only ones that really get a good fighting shot to take it on. Other people just be messing around. They're just pissed off worse.
You don't want it. We don't want to take on a demon and an exorcism. I mean, let's be honest.
It's not that I want to do this. I'll tell you this. I didn't want to be an exorcist. I was called to it. And then I was appointed by my bishop. I wasn't even like, hey, let me do this. They were like, hey, you're going to do this. And I was like, okay. What are you going to tell you? What are you going to tell you when the archbishop of your order calls you up and goes, hey, this is what you're going to do now? It's not like you can go, no. You can try to say no. They're going to be like, well, you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then you get that biblical ass chewing because you told them no to begin with. And then you're still going to end up doing it in the end. So, I mean,
Bishop Cloud did offer to offer ordination as a permanent deacon, but
there you go. And that says a lot too, coming from that man. He's a good man.
He is a good man. He's a great man.
He's another one that's been through a lot.
He has, and he's powerful. He's a very
very
powerful individual. I mean, people really undercut him. You know, just don't realize how much strength he carries with him.
He carries a ton, and especially for how young he is too. He's young. He's not old.
No.
As far as archbishops go, like other than myself and Archbishop Torres, he's probably the next youngest.
I just can't believe that.
Yeah.
Torres is.
Yeah. Well, he didn't even want to be it. He's just, are you sure I'm ready? And Archbishop Vendega really didn't give him a choice. He was like, well, you're the new Archbishop in California Diocese. And he was like, okay.
Yeah. Or.
And then he called me up and he was like, guess what? And I was like, yeah, I know. He was like, I don't think I'm ready. I was like, well, you're ready.
Yeah.
If the Prior General says you're ready, you're ready.
Is he moving?
I like to say he's cooking with grace.
Cooking with grace. I love that.
I like that.
I mean, no, I'm going to benchmark it. That's what it's called. It's benchmark. So, no, that's good. You know, growth in the ministry is just awesome. I've seen the new young blood come in and be full of Christ and doing it. It's just, it's refreshing, you know, because you know, so the Roman Catholic Church, you know, took a big turn as well, and you know, started.
They kind of like to turn a blind eye to it.
For many years, yes. But I have to be honest, the local diocese here in Wichita has an exorcist, and he's actually proactive. I have to give him credit. The Tulsa diocese, I think the bishop believes.
I know the Diocese of Charleston. I know the Diocese of Charleston in South Carolina is pretty proactive.
Yeah.
But they're also one of the oldest dioceses in the U.S. too. So.
Well, there you go.
Believe it or not.
But you know, there for the longest time they weren't.
No.
They weren't involved. And
you pretty much had to have extreme proof for them to even bat an eye at it. For many years.
Even though they're there now, there's still a wall between them and the rest of the world. People are so scared to approach the Roman Catholic Church for spiritual help. Yeah. And, you know, that's one of the things I really strive to tell people is that, you know, first off, and I'm going to raise my hand, I'm old Roman Catholic. I am independent Catholic.
You know, I am as well. I mean, I grew up with it, and I went to seminary with them. And
right. I was cradle Catholic, grew up in Catholic Church. Was never abused, but...
I never was either, but I know people who were.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And I think it was that abuse, the church and how they handled the abuse is what really...
Yeah, that's really what put the wall up, is how they handled it.
Right. And so that created the void. And I think that's probably why our orders are so busy all the time, is we're more approachable. Yeah. And I think that when, you know, you have somebody go out there that's not...
Well, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, look at it. The independent Catholic Church, from its start, has been more approachable. You're right about that.
Yeah. And
a lot of it, I think, is because a lot of the clergy, we're young.
Yeah.
And we are more approachable.
I mean, just about as a regular civilian, man, I'm telling you, it's hard to even get on a search to find the right people. It takes a minute being able to just track down who you need to. That's why I always give everybody the information out here. You call us if you need us. We're here for you, making sure that you're taken care of. We start your case by scratch. We give you a huge couple of questions to ask, but it's for the right purpose. It all gets to the point and focuses on the matters at hand, handling it properly. It's very important. It's very important. I don't like how much it's been turned away. And, you know,
I get a lot of bad feedback on people, is then they always get to ask the question, oh, why do I gotta have a mental evaluation done? Well, because we want to make sure that, you know, that's not that problem. Because if it is, you can actually lead somebody to suicide doing an exorcism.
Absolutely.
We just trade. Mental illness is one of the hugest tricks of the trade, man. They can
mental illness can mimic demonic oppression and vice versa. I mean,
Exactly.
so that's why you got to have the mental professionals involved.
Yeah, ciphering all that out is very important. That's why all those questions are supposed to get answers.
And there are delusional disorders out there that people are convinced that they're being demonically influenced. They can actually feel something crawling up their legs, and it's an actual medical condition. Those things are very real.
Yep.
You know, and for us to go in and try to perform deliverance on somebody like that, that's just only going to worsen their condition.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And it's not going to help whatsoever.
Right.
But King has a question right here. Why can't the Pope perform an exorcism? Isn't he the ultimate religious status figure and most holy and prepared to be able to take care of this?
First off, Pope Francis. But anyway, actually, there's a clip out there, and I whoever asked this question, type in Pope Francis performs exorcism, and what it is he's actually walking down a crowd, and there's a young man, he's an invalid, he's bound to a wheelchair, hands him something, and the Pope leans over, kisses him, whispers something in the ear, and the young man starts convulsing. And okay, now, to us, the young man had a medical condition. He was, probably reacting medically to the excitement.
No,
but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
A lot of people are convinced that the Pope actually whispered some deliverance prayers to this young man and performed a quick
minor order.
Exorcism on the man, and the convulsions were the reaction of the demon. If not, So yes, the Pope can perform an exorcism. Absolutely. Would the Pope perform an exorcism? He won't think that.
No, most likely they're going to get. That's why the Vatican itself has its own head exorcist. There's a chief exorcist at not only every diocese, but the Vatican itself has a chief exorcist.
Yeah, Father Amorth was the popular one.
He was the best.
Yep.
He was the man.
Yep.
I was very fortunate in meeting him, as my grandfather and him actually were born in the same village in Italy.
Really?
Yep. They're both from Sicily, actually. They're a little village outside, in between Coleone and Palermo.
I couldn't tell you had Italian in you. You hide it so well.
If I grew my hair out, you could tell.
No, it's very clear.
I know. That's funny. Because I was adopted. My last name is RAWCLIFFE, and that's my adopted last name. But even my adopted family is mostly Italian, because my mother that raised me was a Princiato, and I mean, we're all either Sicilian or half Sicilian. I'm probably more Sicilian than most of the people in my family, but.
Yeah. Well,
man, thank you, Mr. Earl. Thank you for having all of this happening tonight, man. I appreciate you stepping in, being able to talk.
Yep. Yeah, we kind of threw him under the bus, kind of like last minute, because Archbishop messed up his days and almost forgot about it.
We got to get him one of those digital calendar things.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. You gotta get me one of them little date book things.
Well, you're going to have me on in September. Don't forget, I'll be coming back.
For sure. Yep. Yeah, we talked about that too, and we'll have another great show. Since we only got a minute left, we're going to close like we always do with a prayer of St. Michael. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do you, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and the other evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. And we hope everyone has a safe weekend out there. And
yeah, stay sharp, stay safe, stay vigilant. Have a great day. Thank you, man.
I'm Archbishop Matthew RAWCLIFFE. Please join me and some great guests as we take a journey where I will spread positive and enlightened messages to educate, heal, and help others as we chat about various subjects with the help of God. Tune in every second and fourth Thursdays at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on Paranormal King Radio Network.